Good evening and welcome to the Friends of Rouge Park's annual meeting. We really do look forward to when we can do this in person. But for tonight, hopefully you have something to eat, maybe a beverage, and you can sit back with us and celebrate with us a year like no other year, Rouge Park. So the Friends of Rouge Park are a nonprofit organization that came together 19 years ago to improve our favorite park. Our mission is to advocate for the protection and enhancement of the natural features and habitats found in Rouge Park and to promote existing activities and facilities and appropriate development of future recreational activities. Let's see if I can. So we have a full agenda tonight that will include board elections, an update from the city, the presentation of our annual awards, and a review of 2020. So feel free to use the chat to introduce yourself and to ask questions. I think if Sam is here, Sam is going to be monitoring the chat. Looks like Sam is here. We will take a few questions following the presentation by Erin and Juliana. Megan, the Chief Parks Planner, Megan Elliott, was to speak tonight, but I guess there's a lot of conflicting meetings tonight, so Juliana said she would be here tonight. While we don't have the opportunity to introduce everybody here, I did want to acknowledge the elected officials that we have. And might need a little help here as I know who is registered, but I know that we have LaDon Davis from Gabe Leland's office. And trying to see if there is.
I'm sorry, Sally. Gabe might be joining us as well.
Oh, okay, great. So thank you so much.
On behalf of Representative Whitsett.
Oh, okay. And who is that?
Emily Eggenberger on behalf of State Representative Karen Whitsett.
Okay, great. Well, welcome.
Commissioner Nicole Small.
Okay, great. Welcome. Okay, well, thank you. So this organization is run by an all-volunteer board of directors that's elected annually by the membership. I would like to introduce the directors that served in 2020. So I am going to start with myself, Sally Petrella, and I have served as president on and off since 2002. I started playing in Rouge Park back in the 80s when we moved to Warrendale. And when I started working for Friends of the Rouge, the river organization, I met a lot of people who loved the park since 4 miles of the Rouge River runs through it. And then also had come to know a lot of people who cared about the neighborhood through the Warrendale Community Organization. So it was our state representative at the time, Triette Reeves, if any of you recall her, who encouraged us to start a Park Friends group so that she could show people that people really did care about the park in Lansing. And we have been working to improve this park ever since. So I will turn this over to our vice president. I guess you'll have to unmute, Arthur.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Arthur Edge. I'm Vice President of Friends of Rouge Park. Been Vice President, I don't know how many years, but I was, my niece, I asked her, should I do this? And she said, yes, she would help me. And she made it to one meeting and I haven't seen her since. My history of Rouge Park, I've been coming to Rouge Park since I was probably 5, 6 years old. My father used to bring me out here to ride the ponies, and that's where it started. As a teenager, I hung out in Rouge Park. My life took me to the other side of town, and then I hung out at Rouge Park, at Palmer Park in Belle Isle for years. but in later years, my life brought me back here. I am president of Far West Detroit Civic Association that borders the west side of Rouge Park. And so I volunteered to become president to make it safe and make the park as family friendly as possible. And I thank everybody for joining us tonight.
Great. Thank you, Arthur. Paul?
Hello, my name is Paul Stark. I moved about 1¼ miles from Rouge Park back in 1987. And let's see, about 8 years ago, moved about 1 mile from Rouge Park. And I joined the board when the organization first started in 2002 as recording secretary, and I've been there ever since. So thank you everyone for coming. Oh, and Sally, your microphone's not working really well. You're going in and out. I don't know if you have another one.
Oh dear. Okay, I'm just gonna, let me shut that off and I'll have to. Can you hear me now?
That's better.
Quite clear.
Okay, I think the battery died. I had too many Zoom meetings today, I wore it out. Our treasurer, Tamara Dyson, had to work tonight, but she's been involved since we helped to fight to save the park from part of it getting sold off back in 2007. And she's been serving as our treasurer for a couple of years. We are looking for somebody else who might be interested in serving treasurer. She has some health issues and she's looking for somebody to help out. Corresponding secretary, Lorraine?
Hi, Lorraine Harris. I'm a board member of Friends of Rouge. I'm also a member of Far West Detroit Civic Association, Revive Detroit, and I'm part of the Neighborhood Partners, all trying to make it better for our neighborhoods.
Great, thank you. And let's see, membership chair, Paula Triletti.
Hi, everyone. I grew up in the Far West neighborhood, in Arts neighborhood, lived a half block from Rouge Park. I attended Ann Arbor Trail School, and I now live a mile north of that location. I'm across the street from Joe Prance Park, which is a pocket park located within Rouge Park. I became involved with the organization in 2007 when former Mayor Kilpatrick wanted to sell off park land for development. I'm president of my community organization, and my community was outraged about the sale of parkland, and I have been participating and involved ever since. I served as a trustee for several years, and for the past 3 years, I've been the membership chairperson, replacing Tom McNulty when he stepped down. The reason I'm running for this position is because I'm very active in the Cody Rouge community. I'm affiliated with many other organizations within the community. I attend lots of community meetings, and I rarely miss an opportunity to advocate for new memberships in the park.
Thank you, Paula. Talk to her if you need to know if you need to renew your membership. Trustees, Sam Shapinski.
Good evening, everyone. I'm actually an East Sider. I grew up on the East Side of Detroit, and I'm now in the Grosse Pointe Park area. Grew up, despite growing up on the East Side, I got more involved with Friends of Rouge Park through my day job with the National Kidney Foundation of Michigan. With more of a public health background, I have a strong interest and commitment to built environment and natural spaces so that everyone has better access for physical activity and for the well-being and being outdoors. Friends of Rouge Park has always been such a rich and welcoming organization. So when asked if I would support as a trustee a few years ago, I was happy to accept, and I'm excited to join this group and to be with all of you tonight.
Thank you, Sam. Next is Trustee Garrett Dempsey.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us tonight. It's good to be here. I'm joining you from a tent way up in the Kiwanabe Indian community. So the power of Zoom allows me to not miss the annual meeting. And I can say I've really appreciated for the past couple of years being able to serve as a trustee with the Friends of Rouge Park. Probably maybe 6-7 years ago, I was welcomed into the community there at the Friends of Rouge Park as myself, along with a number of other people, were really trying to see if we could help reactivate the Scout Hollow campground. So it's really been an incredible journey to be a part of the Friends of Rouge Park and to see us be able to grow with a lot of partners around Detroit. A program that connects Detroit youth with Rouge Park and particularly overnight camping experiences in Scout Hollow. So thanks so much for joining us tonight. Thanks for your consideration as a trustee.
Great, thank you, Garrett. And Peggy Danker, trustee.
Good evening. I live in the neighborhood right by Rouge Park. And after my retirement, I had a chance to become more familiar with the park and have become enthralled with the area off the Gloucester parking lot and all the wildlife and the water birds that visit there. I urge you to visit sometime and just sit and watch and listen, and I think you'll have a great time. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you, Peggy. And last, Roger Corpolongo served on the board for PERTA 2020. He did step down partway through the year, but he served for several months on the board. Roger, I think you're here. Did you want to introduce yourself?
Hello.
Yep, we can hear you.
Hi, everybody.
Hi,
How are you doing?
we're
everything
good.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm Roger Corpolongo. I was on the board and then I resigned last year and I wanted to attend the yearly meeting, so that's why I'm here.
Thank you, Roger, and thank you for your service. We really appreciate your years of being on the board and your dedication to the park.
Thank you, Sally.
So tonight we are holding an election and we're kind of constrained doing this via Zoom because members all get to vote, but we couldn't quite do this as a Zoom poll. And so if you are a current member, you are emailed a ballot and you maybe have voted already or you are going to be voting tonight. You have 15 more minutes. So our slate of candidates, we do have quite a few incumbents. I do have to say that we are looking for new board members and we've been sending you a lot of emails. Some of us have been serving for a long time. So I would ask all of you to seriously consider it, that we need more people to help keep moving this organization along. So anyway, for tonight, we have the candidates here. I am continuing to run for president, Arthur for vice president, Paul for recording secretary, Tamara Dyson for treasurer, although she would be willing if somebody else would step forward, Lorraine Harris for corresponding secretary, Paula Triletti for membership chair, Sam Shapinski and Garrett Dempsey for trustee. And then we have a new person running for our board, and her name is Camry Abrams. Camry, are you here? Would you like to introduce yourself? Let's see if she is. Okay, well, she may be joining us a little bit later. She's really interested in the board. She grew up in the neighborhood. She actually attended one of our board meetings and has already written a grant for the park. So she's very enthusiastic. So anyway, if you got your ballot, go ahead and vote. We do have a slot for write-ins. If you have a nomination of somebody, we can accept that. Normally we do that at the meeting the month before, but with Zoom we got kind of behind.
Ellie, you're
So-
breaking up again.
Okay.
And this is Roger. I never got a ballot.
Okay, I'm gonna try. One other option for sound. Can you hear me better on this?
I can hear you fine now.
Okay, let me just do a little switch here. Turn off headphones. Speaker, headphones. Left on microphone. Okay, can you hear me okay now?
Yes.
Okay, great. All right, sorry about that. So now the next part of the agenda are our annual Best Friend of the Rouge and Best Partner of the Rouge Awards. And let's see, Arthur, you are going to be presenting our first award. Arthur, are you there?
You're on mute, it sounds like.
All right, I'm ready. All right. Good evening, everyone. I would like to present our 2019-2020 Best Friends of Rouge Park Award to Miss Peggy Dankert. We are honored. We are awarding Miss Peggy Dankert our Best Friend of Rouge Park for 2019-2020 because of her dedication to sharing her love for Rouge Park and working to improve it. She was a founding member of the Friends of Rouge Park and its first treasurer. Peggy spends days watching over Rouge Park, observing, documenting, and sharing its nature and doing whatever she can to clean up and improve the park. She is a keen observer of nature in the park, always happy to share her observations with others in person and on Facebook. She's always picking up trash and has worked hard to remove invasive plants that crowd the native ones. She is alert to threats to the park and regularly reports violations like illegal dumping and misuse of the park and works to get them resolved. Ms. Danker, I would call the official ranger of Rouge Park. Rouge Park is a better place because it has a friend like Peggy. Peggy, I would like to present you with this award and thank you for everything you do.
Thank you, sir. It's a privilege to live by the park, and that was one of the attractions of the neighborhood when I came. And since my retirement, it's like, and especially since Detroit declared bankruptcy, there's just a lot of things that the city had to cut back on. And so you look around you and you say, is this problem that I see right here, is there something I can do about it? And if you can, you might as well go ahead and take care of it. and because this is our neighborhood park, and we want it to be a great place to visit. And I must point out, I kind of focus my areas in one particular area of the park because it's an immense property, and so I invite you to do the same. If you have a little nook and cranny that you really like, if you can contribute something to its welfare, well, the park will be better for all of us. And thank you very much. This is an honor.
You're welcome, Peggy. And you say you pick one area. Every time I'm in the park, I can see you at any given spot. So I think you take care of the whole park. And we thank you again.
So congratulations to a very, very well-deserved award. And I would echo that. Every time I go to the park and I see Peggy, or she's emailing me about some issue and we're getting it taken care of. So this is very well-deserved. We're showing you all the award, but we will be giving this to her in person. I think once we actually have a meeting with people in person, we can do an additional presentation. But thank you so much and congratulations, Peggy. So our next award is going to be presented by Lorraine Harris. Yep.
Thank you. We are awarding Team GM Cares, led by Sean O'Sullivan, our 2019-2020 Best Partner of Rouge Park Award because of their hard work over the past 5 years to improve Rouge Park. In 2016, Sean O'Sullivan offered up GM employees to come to the park to do projects identified by the Friends of Rouge Park, providing people and equipment. GM employees are some of the hardest working volunteers we have had in the park, sending several large groups who come with tools and expertise. They opened up the Prairie Trail and the Joe Prance Trails, built picnic tables, removed invasive species, cleared brush from our bike paths and bridges, and generally cleaned up the park. GM has also contributed financially through the GM Foundation Dollars for Doers and is planning to donate a picnic shelter. Even last year, when COVID prevented us from engaging volunteers, they were able to send out a small group that worked hard to remove brush and trash along the bike trail under a strict protocol of health screening, masks, and social distancing. Rouge Park is a better place due to the work of Team GM Cares, led by Sean O'Sullivan. Thank you. We'd like to present this award to you, sir.
Thank you, Lorraine. I really appreciate it, everybody. You know, we made a commitment in 2016 to focus our efforts in the Detroit community, among a lot of other things, but you know, to Cody Rouge. And you know, Rouge Park is the other half of the neighborhood. So we're always thrilled to find ways to engage with the park. It's such a beautiful space, and it's so meaningful to everyone in the neighborhood. I love going there personally. It's always great to see all the amazing things that are able to be done. I know, you know, even this year, we're planning on coming back for the Grow Cody program last week of July. So we're going to be excited to find other ways that we can continue to bring volunteers, bring our engineers to anything you guys want built. We'll get it built. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Congratulations, Sean. Congratulations to Team GM Cares. You guys are awesome. The slide before, I wanted to show a picture of you, and we realized neither you nor I have pictures because you're so busy organizing the volunteers that we didn't have any pictures of you.
I know. I'm always the one taking the photos. So.
But we greatly appreciate it, and we hope to see you back this summer. So thank you.
For sure, we will be.
Yeah, we will be getting this award to you, the real thing. So congratulations. So I am going to stop sharing my screen right now. And we actually have two speakers from the city, Juliana Fulton, Parks Planner, and I'm never sure I know exactly your title, but I know you do programming, Erin Casey. So Erin, do you want me to share your PowerPoint, or do you want to go ahead and do that?
Whatever's easier for you, Sally, is fine with me. I'm happy to.
Okay, let me see if I can do
Why don't I go ahead and share it, and then that way I don't have to tell you to click through the slides.
Okay, if you want to go ahead and do that, and I may have to give you permission. Let me find you. I think I have to make you a co-host, so you just became the co-host, so you should be able to share now.
Great. And then Juliana, when we get to your slides, just tell me and I'm happy to click through them.
That's good.
We feel really honored to have both of you here tonight. Thank you so much. And I know you were just getting out of some other meetings that I was in with you, so appreciate it.
Sorry, give me just 1 second to pull them up here. Okay.
I think it's under view.
Oh yeah, this one's weird. It doesn't have the, oh, there we go.
No,
it's different than when it's in a regular Google slide. Okay, hi everyone. I'm Erin Casey. I'm the Assistant Director for Parks and Rec over strategy and planning and programming. Falls under my umbrella. Today I wanted to chat a little bit, not only about some of the great programming that we have coming up in Rouge Park, but also just sort of to give like a really brief 50,000 feet overview of some of the things that are happening in recreation in the city of Detroit more broadly. And then after that, Juliana is going to talk more specifically about capital improvements in the park. So recreation programming has really spent a lot of time thinking about our vision for programming moving forward. We engaged in a community needs assessment, and we are still moving forward with analyzing that data, and there will be some community meetings in the future to present some of that data. So we'll make sure that we send out information for folks if they want to attend those meetings to hear what the community had to say as a result of that process. But here are the key program areas that we're really going to be focused on in recreation moving forward. So critical needs, things like food distribution, mental health, physical health, providing access to services in our recreation centers. Athletics, we have a really awesome athletics director that joined us just 2 years ago, Shay Lewis. So she's the one who is at the helm of all of our leagues. I'm sure some of you have seen some of the information about our soccer leagues that are going to be starting this spring. Aquatics, nature programming, that's led by Jack Kyle. And we're really excited about a lot of the nature programming that we've been doing and will continue to do in Rouge Park. And then educational enrichment. We are doing some renovations to some of our rec centers. These are the rec centers that are being renovated this year. So Heilman, Farwell, Adams Butzel, Crowell, Patton, Clemente, Coleman Young, Butzel Family Center. All are having renovations done in preparation for the grand reopening of our rec centers that'll happen just after Labor Day. We're also constructing the Lenox Recreation Center that's scheduled to be opened in 2022. So one of the things that I'm really excited to talk about, we've been on a programming hiatus due to the pandemic for the last year. We're really excited to get back out there and start working with youth and families and seniors again. Our pools were not open last year because of COVID. We will be reopening Brennan Pool this summer. We're excited to offer free beginner swim lessons to youth. Those swim lessons will be happening 5 days a week. We're hoping to offer free swim lessons to more than 500 youth this summer and really focus on supporting them to learn how to swim. Those free swim lessons will also include free bathing suits, goggles, swim caps, and then also additional opportunities to have open swim time to practice their skills. Open swim will be 7 days a week at Brennan. And then we're also hoping to have some special swim events like movies in the pool, special float nights, things like that. So we'll keep you posted on any of the additional special events. The swim lessons are going to begin just after Memorial Day. Maybe a week or two into June, and we'll be sure to send out the registration information when registration opens in the coming weeks. Something else that we're really excited about this summer is the City of Detroit is partnering with the Pistons to offer programming at 5 parks this summer. One of those parks that we recommended to the Pistons and has been selected is Rouge Park. Some of the things that we're hoping to offer in partnership with the Pistons this summer in the park are athletic clinics, music in the park, spoken word, fitness classes, nature programming. Once the archery range is up and running, we're really excited to offer programming at the archery range. That programming will be 5 days a week, beginning after Labor Day and beginning with Memorial Day and ending at Labor Day. And those program days will be Wednesday through Sunday. So each day there will be sort of like a gear or a play library available in the park. So families or youth can come out and they can check out soccer balls and basketballs and frisbees, and there will be cornhole and things like that. And then each day there will also be 2 kind of formal activations or programs in the park. So maybe one day it's Zumba and maybe African drum lessons, and maybe another day it's nature programming and a special event at Brennan Pool. As I mentioned before, one of our key program focus areas for recreation is nature programming. I think the pandemic has really highlighted the benefits of getting folks outside into natural spaces for both physical and mental health benefits. We piloted this winter some winter programming in Palmer Park. We had bonfires and snowshoeing and cross-country skiing. That was really successful, and we're hoping to expand that offering next winter into Rouge Park. Scout Hollow this summer, I know our awesome partners with Detroit Outdoors are planning to do some, kind of one-day nature programming events, and then tentatively planned, as long as it's safe, they are hoping to do some camping leadership training in Scout Hollow this summer. We also have a lot of programming, nature programming out at the Den in Palmer Park. We work with, K-12 science curriculum. We also just formed a partnership with Dr. Ram at Wayne State University. And we are hoping to expand some of those opportunities to youth in schools near Rouge Park coming this fall. And then we also are offering this summer a nature-themed day camp out at Palmer Park as well. And we're sort of testing that as a pilot and certainly looking for opportunities to expand that offering into other parks in future summers. Soccer. We're really excited for our soccer season to kick off in April. We already have more than 570 youth registered for our spring soccer season. All of our teams, with the exception of U12 and U10, are filled. But if you know older youth that are eligible for that are 9 or 10 or 11 or 12 that are interested in playing soccer, there will be teams forming at each of the rec centers across the city. And as I mentioned, another programming focus area that we really want to concentrate on moving forward is critical needs. So some of the ways that recreation has already begun to focus on this programming area is through our food distribution. Parks and Rec since March has distributed more than 1.4 million meals to youth across the city. We began to pilot the COVID food delivery program for residents that were tested positive for COVID and were quarantined in their home and could not make it out to the grocery store or to pick up food from a mobile pantry. We also stood up testing site at our Williams Recreation Center, and we're also continuing to do pop-up vaccination clinics at all of our rec centers across the city. We're hoping to move more toward a community center model for our rec centers. So thinking about how can we expand opportunities for mental health services and physical health services in those locations, as well as bringing in more partnerships to really round out our program offerings in those buildings.
Aaron, a question came up in the chat box from Bart Matney. This is back a slide to the rec centers.
Sure.
Just soccer, or will there be other sports offered for youth at the rec centers?
Yes, that's a great question. So right now our focus is soccer for the spring season. Typically in pre-pandemic times, in terms of our in-house leagues, we offer soccer, basketball, flag football, we're baseball and t-ball. And then I know our athletics director is really excited probably next year to start our inaugural lacrosse season. So we'll have all of those opportunities. And then I think we're also thinking more in terms of athletics about how can we get youth more involved in kind of non-traditional non-team sports. So things like archery, we're really excited about, and expanding tennis offerings. And then we're also looking to expand beyond just offering athletic leagues to youth, but also offering leagues for adults and seniors. So I know that's something that our athletics director is focused on in the next year as well.
And just to clarify, the soccer, there will be soccer in Rouge Park?
So Rouge Park is not one of the hubs that we will be playing at this year. But there will be, we are looking to have potentially tournaments in Rouge Park in the fall, and then also to use Rouge in the fall as one of our game sites as well.
So I guess I'll jump in. Thank you, Erin. It's really exciting to see all the programming that's happening in Rouge Park. I know it's something that people have talked about for a long time. It's like having more programming, more activities in the park. So it's really exciting that, that it was chosen as one of those 5 parks to have all those special programs happening throughout the summer. So, and to have all the swim attention in the city happening at Brennan Pool, which I know is something I think we've we've wanted for a long time for Rouge, is to have more attention on Brennan Pool. So all really exciting news. So I'm going to jump in really quickly and talk about recent and upcoming improvements at Rouge Park. I think most of you have probably seen me before. I'm Juliana Fulton, park planner with the City of Detroit. And I want to give a shout out to my coworker, Ray Sean, the landscape architect, who's done all of these improvements and managed the construction and taken these photos. So, I'm getting a credit for a lot of his work here, but I just wanted to shout out. I'm not sure if he was able to make it tonight or not, but thank you for all your work, Rishon. Next slide, please. Okay, so I just wanted to remind everyone where we've come. When I started working with the city over 5 years ago, I think it was closer to 7 now, but we developed a master plan for the park that came out of most of the work was done by Friends of Rouge and some initial work with some other organizations as well. And the map that's in front of you right now is actually from 5 years ago, 2016. I think it's just exciting to look at it and see all the stuff that has been accomplished since then. All the areas in white are aspirational and all the black were existing, and a lot of those white have now turned black. So we have realized some of our goals. There's a lot more to do, and I think this, the plan has changed somewhat, but I think I just wanted to take a step back and celebrate how far we've come in 5 years for renovations in the park. Next slide, please. So the first one I wanted to talk about is the Sorensen area, which is at the very south east corner of the park. And it took a kind of a blank canvas where long ago there used to be a couple baseball diamonds. There hasn't been any active recreation there for a long time. And it's now a pocket park that includes a playground, a picnic shelter, walking loop, sports fields, and a parking area. So you can kind of see the before and after picture. And it was a collaboration of a bunch of different funders from the city, a state grant, and also Wayne County. So that's a joint partnership there. We also had a small grant for Motor Cities that helped with some educational signage along the Sorensen Promenade down by the river. And if you haven't checked it out, you should. It's really cool. It's historic and a natural trail down there. It's right behind the playground. Next slide, please. The other major area that was renovated is Cozy Corner. So that is now 8 soccer fields and multi-use. I believe the one full-size field can also be used as football with a boulder perimeter to ensure cars don't get in. We also are hoping to still fundraise for the bathrooms and parking lots that would allow this to be a more regularly used practice area for soccer, but we are excited that the games are going to be taking place here. As well as a large picnic shelter donated by GM Cares. We just need to get all the accessible paths and benches in order so we can install that as well. Next slide, please. And then the Brennan area, or Rouge North. So we don't have the after picture yet because it's still underway. Most of the work has been completed with a new basketball court that was done in 2019 with the Pistons. And then last year, a bunch of improvements that came in from tennis courts, horseshoe, 2 playgrounds, 2 picnic shelters, and soccer. So a lot of improvements. A lot of those were existing and just really needed to be spruced up, and a couple new things as well. We are still working on the splash pad. It's 90% complete, and we're shooting for a June ribbon cutting event where we have the splash pad turned on, and it's right at the foot of Brennan Pool. So hopefully it'll attract some more kids to come and take these swim lessons and come play in the pool, because splash pads have been wildly popular throughout the city. So we're really excited to have one here in Rouge Park. And this was funded from a combination again of the city, a state grant, the Wilson Foundation, and the Pistons. Next slide, please. So other coming improvements, where it was referred to a couple times, we are working on a Wayne County funded project with the archery range that we are also working with Elite Archery and Eric on. the scope of. It sounds like there's still some more to fund, but we are going to start with some improvements that hopefully will make the archery range more usable and more beautiful than it is today. We also have a partnership with Metro Parks that we're hopefully going to kind of reinvigorate this year with some COVID plans that's to address the prairie and some other natural areas throughout the park. And then we also have a project with our partners at the Detroit Water and Sewer Department. Next slide, please. Okay, I really quickly wanted to talk about the Parks and Rec strategic plan, and I apologize for all the many people that have heard me talk about this multiple times already. I'll go really quickly.
A few things from the chat box, just a couple questions on that section.
Go ahead.
First, and this may just be a request for a little bit more information regarding the archery field from funds available to complete the work on the shelters for archers to shoot under at the archery range. The work is funded under the improvements. It's not enough to cover the span where archers actually shoot.
Yes. Yes, so thank you. So the improvements we are doing is kind of to the existing infrastructure and walkways. We weren't able to fund that kind of shade structure that would go over where the archers would stand, which is kind of what we've seen in other areas is kind of a best practice. So that's something that we still want to fundraise for, as well as I believe we weren't able to fund the improved targets. So yes, we still have some things to fund. I believe Eric Humlin has a fundraising GoFundMe account or another fundraising account right now. So if anyone's interested in helping to fundraise for that, maybe Eric, you could share the link in the chat. I think Catherine might be on the screen. So thank you for the question. Was there any more questions, Sam?
A common question from Peggy Dankert regarding the soccer fields. Brad Dick, I believe, said that the sod needs a summer for the roots to settle in. So I think a question associated with that may be what's the impact on programming?
Yeah, so we had 5 of these larger areas, so we're calling them the soccer hubs, built, and Rouge was actually the last one to be completed, partly because of the flooding issues that needed to be addressed. So that might have a factor in why we are looking at fall rather than any spring use. Aaron's nodding. So I think we are very aware of, giving the fields the time they need to grow and to be able to withstand heavy use that we're hopefully going to be bringing their way soon.
And that's all so far. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Sam. Next slide, please. Okay, just really quickly, we're taking a lot of different information in to update our citywide strategic plan. And the plan is more than just parks. We're also looking at rec centers, rec programming, greenways, and we're taking information from a citywide survey that was recently released for resident priorities. We're also looking at the census to see where youth and senior populations are within the city, what's growing, what's not. And then also we're evaluating all of our parks and their current conditions. And so the goal is to create a vision for the future that will last the next 5 to 10 years. Next slide, please. So we currently are in phase 2. We just started with our first focus group. Thank you, Sally, for taking part. First focus group meeting of many that is taking the information that we got from the surveys that identified resident priorities and goals, along with a community needs assessment that was conducted last year. We have all that information, all those priorities. Now we're trying to figure out what recommendations, what action steps to take to make sure that those needs are met that were identified. So we're working with focus groups with key stakeholders, and there'll be a number of public focus groups as well that will be announced in the next couple weeks. And then after that, we'll hopefully have a draft plan for the public and everyone to review. And the goal is to get this to City Council by January. Next slide, please. It's just a really quick timeline of what I just explained. So if you're more of a visual person, so again, we're just starting the focus group now. So we're going to be doing that for the next couple months. But in early August, please look out for a draft plan for everyone to provide feedback. Rouge Park will definitely be focused on in the plan and have a lot of input. I think that might be it. Next slide. Yeah, thank you. This is one of my favorite pictures. I use it in a lot of presentations. It's actually one of Jack's old programs getting schools out into Rouge Park. So I think it's trying to do more of this in the future. So thank you, everyone.
I believe that Nicole Small has her hand raised for a question if you want to come off mute.
Yeah, really quick. The recreational center, Coleman A. Young, Farwell, and the others that are going under renovation, would that mean that they won't be accessible this summer at all?
Yes, that's right. We're planning for all of the rec centers to reopen in the fall, just after Labor Day, with the caveat that, you know, as long as it's safe to do so.
Okay, do you know what, well, they're not open now. Okay, I just want to share the information for the community. And where can we find all of these activities that you're talking about for like soccer for the youth?
Yeah, so if you go to the City of Detroit Parks and Rec webpage, there's a link to register for soccer there. We haven't opened up yet the link to register for swim. We're just finalizing scheduling for that. So that'll be open in the coming weeks, and that will also be available on the Parks and Rec webpage. I also want to note too, something that I'm pretty excited about, but Parks and Rec just invested in a new recreation software. So as we approach the fall, probably around June, we'll have our whole course catalog for all of the classes that are going to be available both in the parks and in the rec centers, available to register for on that platform. So as soon as that's rolled out, there will also be a link to those registration opportunities on the Parks and Rec webpage as well.
And just, this is the last question. So I remember when the city had that after school program and they had transportation for the students. Are there any opportunities to help the students who live in those areas where the rec centers will be closed get transportation to some of these classes?
So for this summer, we are not doing transportation to youth because of the pandemic.
Okay.
We have concerns about putting youth into a small space, especially when they're still not eligible to be vaccinated. Typically in a normal summer, for the youth that are at our day camps or our summer fun centers, we usually do provide transportation to the pools for these types of programs. We're definitely planning on doing that again in future summers, but unfortunately this summer we didn't feel that it was safe to provide transportation.
Thank you so much for answering my questions.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Erin. Thank you, Juliana. It's so exciting to have some programming finally coming back to the park. Of course, you know, we want to get that day camp going one of these years. So hopefully in the coming years, we can get what we used to have as a day camp over in Joe Prance Park going too. But it's great to have all these improvements. So thank you very much. We are going to move back to our report that we give to you every year on all of the work in the park. So can you guys hear me okay? And I'm sorry, we did shut off people's videos just so it's not too distracting. And I did want to also just mention, thank you, Gabe Leland, for joining us. Thank you, Cameron. I'll give you a chance to introduce yourself. Ishmael Terry has also joined us, so thank you. 2020 was a tough year. We had an ambitious budget, and then COVID hit. But it turned out okay for us. With our revenues, we had planned to raise $2,500 in corporate sponsorships, but then COVID hit, and it was really difficult to ask companies when the need for PPE and food was really out there. And also a lot of the companies were hurting themselves and shutting down. So we fell short on there, but we certainly made up for that in donations. We got more than $100, $176 more than we had expected. Memberships, Paula will give you more of that story, but we doubled our memberships in 2020, which is amazing in a COVID year. Thank you so much for your support. Foundation support, GM Dollars for Doers. Thank you for that support. So we just fell about $633 short on our revenue. On the expense side, we actually ended up spending less money because we couldn't hold events. The only event that we had in the park all year was the cleanup sponsored by GM, which we didn't spend any money on. Fees, we did this year decide we needed to hire an accountant. So to make sure we had our books in order and to be better at showing you these budget to actual. So that represents those fees. Contracted work, we had funding to hire an intern, and of course we had to lay her off because the whole point was to organize events in the park. Insurance went up a little bit. We spent less on supplies. So all in all, we came out okay, mostly because of your support. So we actually ended the year with a surplus, and membership was the big story on that. And I'm going to bring up Paula Treletti, who'll give you a report on membership. Paula, you there?
I'm here, but okay, I'm here. Hello, everyone. During the 2019-2020 years, we had 141 individual and family members. This included 61 persons who paid dues in 2019 and 80 persons who paid dues in 2020. Because of the pandemic, we did not remove any members from our roster during 2020. But beginning this year, members who have not renewed their dues in 2 years will be dropped from our membership. So this means I need your help. I need your help to recruit new members for our organization. So please encourage your friends, family, and acquaintances to visit our website at www.rougepark.org, where they may join our organization for as little as $5. Next slide, please.
And Paula, you can turn on your video if you want to. I think it's off. I turned people's video off because we decided to do that, but you can turn yours back on.
Okay. There you go. During 2019-2020, we had 20 member organizations and corporate sponsors. Next slide, please. Our organizational members were the Boy Scouts Michigan Crossroads Council, Buffalo Soldiers Heritage Association, Cody Rouge Community Action Alliance, Detroit Aero Modelers, Detroit Outdoors, Elite Archery Incorporated, Far West Detroit Civic Association, Friends of the Rouge, Greening of Detroit, Joy Community Association, Motor City Mountain Biking Association, National Kidney Foundation of Michigan, Warrendale Community Organization, and West Outer Drive Civic Association. And I cannot thank these organizations enough. Thank you for being part of Rouge Park. And in 2019-2020, our corporate sponsors were Ally Financial Incorporated, the Corporate Citizenship Program, GM, Dollars for Doers, Rocket Community Fund, the Detroit Pistons, the Kresge Foundation, Your Cause Program, and the Wexner Foundation. We were very fortunate to have been able to continue to grow our membership during the pandemic and are grateful to all our new supporting members who are our true champions of Rouge Park. In 2020, members were able to increase their financial commitment to Friends of Rouge Park by becoming supporting members. By the end of the year, we had 10 supporter members, we had 10 supporter memberships, 9 sustainer memberships, 5 Pathfinder memberships, 2 Trailblazer memberships, and 2 River Wanderer memberships, which generated $2,700 for our park. I would like to thank all of our supporting members for their generosity and personally acknowledge our river wanderers, Judith and Bill Burke, and our longtime Save Rouge Park activist, Ela Giga. Next slide, please. Although I do not recall meeting Bill Burke, Sally told me that he was cycling through Rouge Park soon after the pandemic lockdown began, and he thought that our park could use a little love. As most of you know, the park is extremely trash strewn and always needs a ton of cleaning up in the spring after the snow melts. Soon after that bike ride, Bill wrote a check for $500, which I say is a quarter ton of love. Thank you, Bill and Judith. Next slide, please. This is our longtime activist friend, Ela Giga. Ela loved Rouge Park and came to our events whenever health concerns did not prevent her from doing so. She was an avid bird watcher and butterfly enthusiast. She loved hiking the trails and walking her dogs with her husband, Roger. She volunteered for events, served on the board as a trustee, and came to offer moral support at our events when she was not well enough to help. While serving jointly on the Friends of Rouge Park board, Ela and I discovered that we were kindred spirits. We spent quality time traveling to Lawrence Technological University to work on the master plan for Rouge Park. We explored Detroit, walked the Fairlane Estate, frequented new restaurants for lunch, with Sally joining us when she could. Sadly, our wonderful friend Ela passed away last spring. Ela had told her husband Roger that she wanted to make a donation to Rouge Park after the passing. As a result of that donation, we have made Ela a river wanderer in perpetuity. We will always remember her enthusiasm and support for Rouge Park.
Thank you, Paula. Really miss Ela. Thank you for that great membership report. So I'm sorry we're going a little bit over time, but we still have a whole lot of things to report to you. So it'll probably take me another 10 or 15 minutes to go through these slides, but it's important that you hear what went on with our organizations this year. So we started out I'm sorry.
Just a couple of quick things in the chat box. There's a question about how someone can become a member or renew. You can do so online, and I'll send a link in the chat box. And if you prefer not to send online, but mail, you can also mail in a check with a membership form, which could be found online. There's one other question from Michael C., who had his hand raised.
Hi, I was just curious. This is kind of a off the wall question, but I've always wondered, is alcohol allowed in the park?
No.
No.
I didn't think so, but I mean, I see it there.
Yeah, this is Juliana. If you have a permit as part of a special event, it is, but you have to go through a permitting process. So in general, no.
In general, no. When Tour de Detroit did the triathlon in the park, they actually got a special permit and had a keg of beer. And when we have our annual meeting at the Brennan Pools, we were allowed to serve alcohol as long as we were not charging for it. But besides that, no. So thank you for the question. I'm going to move on. So we started out 2020 hiring intern Ashley Bowl through a grant from the Rocket Community Fund to organize volunteer events in the park. So she started in January. She got her pesticide applicator license so she could work on invasive species. And she planned a whole slew of work days that were to start in April. Then COVID hit, and it hit us hard. As a large city with people living close together and high poverty rates, the virus hit us harder than rural and suburban wealthy areas. I'm gonna and in a cruel turn, also affected and killed African Americans at higher rates than whites. Our members were losing family, friends, and coworkers. So the city responded by mobilizing the recreation department to run one of the most efficient COVID testing sites in the country. It's one of the many things they did. But at the same time, everything not considered essential services was shut down, including parks. The Friends of Rouge Park responded by working with the city, along with the Detroit Parks Coalition. That's a coalition of the 5 major parks that work together. We assisted where we could, putting out notices on our webpage and through social media on how to be safe in the park. And when the city laid off so many of their staff, some of our members went out and put out caution tape to alert people not to use the basketball hoops and not to let their children play on the playground structure, just because at that time there was a real strong feeling that the virus could be spread that way. One of the things that the virus highlighted is the importance of safe, clean parks and green space and how they're not equitably distributed in this country. And recreating outdoors for your household is one of the few safe things that you can do with COVID. And being confined in your homes, Rouge Park just is such a great place to relax and such a needed place. And people came out in numbers. Though we don't have a great way of counting, we know that the nature trails in Rouge Park were being used by families and children way more than in past years. People were really getting out in the park. But unfortunately, the city did not see parks as an essential service at first and had not allocated any funding for staff to empty garbage cans or cut grass. With all the people using Rouge Park, we were embarrassed they had to push through waist-high grass and piles of trash, yet they still came. So we told the city the governor's orders considered parks an essential service. And while we understood that with the budget cuts that no programming would happen, but we did insist that the trash be picked up and the grass cut, and they eventually acquiesced. And at the same time, we were doing our part. Well, we were really sad to have to cancel our organized Earth Day cleanup, our Rouge Park Appreciation Day, because it just wasn't safe. Instead, a lot of our members got out there, brought their own bags, did their own cleanup, and even stuck them in their car and took them home and put them in their own trash can. You know, thanks to people like Mike Rudell, Stephen and Carol Cook, Donna Hall, and others. And not only did people volunteer their time for the cleanup, but Scout leader David Oakley used his free time to build more steps on our new Scout Hollow Trail. You should go out there. It's just awesome. And Juliana has already talked a little bit about this. You know, our master plan called for new picnic shelters, playgrounds, benches, walking trails, and we finally in 2020 started to see some of this. So thanks to funding from the trust fund, from the city, and from Wayne County Commissioner Alicia Bell, we now have, you know, this beautiful shelter, playground, benches, walking trail. And Juliana touched on this Motor Cities grant that we got to put interpretive signage down around the area. If you're familiar, down, we call it the Sorensen Promenade. We are actually working with the city to plan a grand opening for this. So you've got the playground up above. You can bring your kids there. They can play. You can have a picnic. You can walk the walking track, and then you also can connect to these trails and learn all about the history of Charles Sorensen, one of Ford's CEOs, who used to have a house that some of you even remember as the White House, because when the city purchased the property, they purchased the house and used it as a recreation center and other uses over time. And so the ruins are still there. So while so many improvements were coming to the park in 2020, we still were really unable to hold any group events. Donna Hall and Peggy Dankert did a great job on our Facebook page highlighting all the fantastic nature in the park. When it came to doing our butterfly walk, we just weren't, it was not a time where we could hold it in person. And so instead, went out there with our butterfly expert, Doris Applebaum, and she and I did a video identifying butterflies. And we also did a virtual wildflower walk. So in the hopes that people would just get out there and do their own walk. And one of the benefits is that if you're out there on those walks, you might not see that butterfly up and close. And Paul was able to add some nice pictures in there. So those are on our website, rougepark.org, under presentations. And maybe Sam can put that in the chat. And then, of course, our board transition to Zoom meetings. This is actually one of our later ones. Some of our early pictures show us just, tops of our heads or whatever, but like everybody. And we started holding our monthly memberships via Zoom. At the same time, since we weren't doing any work days, some of our members got out and did some park improvements. So the Stonebridge Nature Trail is a little bit hard to follow, especially in the floodplain. So we added some blue blazes to mark the trail. For all of our nature trails, we added these posts with the designated uses. So people know, yeah, it's okay to hike here, it's okay to bird watch, walk your dog, but not take an ORV. And while people were using the trails like crazy this year, we started to have a big problem with off-road vehicles. And we were just really concerned people would be out there walking with their family and run into one of these vehicles. And they were causing huge erosion problems on the trail. And if you're not clear about this, off-road vehicles are simply not legal, anywhere off-road in Detroit parks. So we worked really closely with the police department to get some enforcement on this. And we've been working with them hand in hand on other issues in the park. So in addition to the Sorensen area, as Juliana mentioned, we got some wonderful improvements up by the Brennan pools with a new picnic shelter, picnic tables, swing sets. We got a tennis court restored. So the Pistons helped to support the basketball courts up there, the former tennis courts. And then we did get some tennis courts there. I hear we're getting pickleball there. And one really cool project was when Spinoza was repaved, they actually added bike lanes. And this has been in our master plan for several years to do this on all the roads in the park, because the roads in our park are so wide and can be unsafe with the way people go really fast on them. So by adding these lanes, it makes a safe place for people. And since they put these in, you see all kinds of people walking and biking on them. And then at the same time, parking is being limited in the park to the places where there's actually amenities to go to. And this will help with both with the illegal dumping problem, some of the indecency concerns we have, and also just help the police with enforcement. So if you're coming to the park, if you want to stop, you're stopping at a place where there's a recreation area and not just parking absolutely anywhere. So we're hoping to get these same things on other parts of the park and Outer Drive. We were able to hold the one volunteer work day. GM had a great protocol. Everybody wore masks, socially distanced, and 11 people came out and 4 of our park board members. They cleared the bike trail out at Tireman and managed to take down about 2,500 cubic yards of brush, and then 23 bags of garbage, a toilet, and some other things. So a big thanks to the GM workers and the board members who came out and worked really hard that day. So by fall, it was pretty clear that COVID was not relenting, and our general meetings via Zoom were not really holding people's attention. Just to talk about basic business. So we have had this history committee for a long time that's been doing a lot of digging into the history of Rouge Park. And that committee put together history presentations, the first one being on the early years. And a big thank you to Paul Stark, who did much of the work, and a couple other of the board members that did some of the research behind this. But we had 47 people, lots of questions, really interesting presentations. And then, which we have now continued, and keep going through another phase each time we have a presentation. We also started doing a newsletter so that we can keep you updated since we're not having the regular meetings. And then in October, DTE let us know that they were going to be building a tree trimming academy adjacent to Rouge Park near Tireman, if you remember where the brick apartment building that burned down used to be. So they are planning to train Detroiters here to fill good paying jobs. And they're going to be there for the next 3 years. They've put up a temporary building and climbing structure. And if it's successful, they might make it to something more permanent. But for now, they're going to see how it goes. But these will be really good, high-paying jobs for Detroiters. It's a nice use of the space, and if they do decide not to keep it there, they will restore the site, and hopefully then we would make it back into the park. We have been partnering with the Huron-Clinton Metro Parks with the city. They've been helping to take care of issues in the prairie and they assisted us in getting, or the city, in getting a grant from REI. I think Jen from REI is even on tonight. So I think it was about an $8,000 grant. People at the REI outdoor store had to vote, and I think Rouge Park got the most votes. So first part of the project has been done. They've added a bench and trash can to the South Prairie Trail on Outer Drive near Tireman. And second part of it, they also added a peace pole, and then they're also going to be adding, working on some signage for the trail, the nature trails in the park. So as we look into 2020, it's 2021 already. We're doing some things to work on strengthening our organization through board training. We just completed an assessment. And also looking to recruit some more board members, rewrite our bylaws, some of the things that we just need to do as an organization. So think about joining our board, please. We can use more good members. It's not a lot of pay, but it's a great thing to do for your park. We would like to increase programming and activity. We actually have just posted our intern position because we feel that it's okay to start organizing small outdoor cleanups, and eventually that will grow as COVID lessens and we all get vaccinated. So you should have gotten an email about that, or it's in our newsletter and it's on our website. So we're looking for a part-time person who wants to organize activities. And also, we are asking for them to do some online social media things that we'll still have to be continuing to do. And then we will continue to work to implement our master plan. We gave a presentation about it in January. We're still working on making that a little bit more presentable and understandable. We should have that done by May, but we are trying to work, a master plan is a master plan, and you can have big ideas, but in order for these projects to happen, you need partnerships. So we will continue to work with anybody who is willing to work with us to implement parts of this master plan to make the park better. And then lastly, we just will continue to promote Rouge Park. Sadly, so many people still don't even have a clue that the park is out there. Even, city residents, even West Siders don't know about Rouge Park. So try to promote the park and promote our organization and all the work that we've been doing thanks to you. So at this time, Paul Stark has been checking the voting, and he should have an announcement here for our board elections. So Paul, do you have that?
Figure out how to unmute myself. Okay. We have the election results, and can just switch to them here. Give me 1 second. And the results are, we have for president, Sally Petrella, our vice president, Arthur Edge, recording secretary, Paul Stark, treasurer, Tamara Dyson, Corresponding Secretary Lorraine Harris. First Trustee Garrett Dempsey. Second Trustee Sam Shupinski. And I'm happy to announce we have a new trustee as of tonight, Camry Abram. And then we did have one write-in choice, and that was Ricardo Moore, although it was suggested that he be an advisor, and we don't have a position as advisor on the board, but I think that we will go ahead and pass it on to him, and if he's interested in being on the board, we do have another trustee position open, and we also have our treasurer is looking to be replaced, so we are also looking for a treasurer. So congratulations to our new board.
Thank you, Paul. Congratulations, everyone. And I think Camry was able to join us a little bit late, so I am going to give her the opportunity to introduce herself. You've already voted her in, but you may as well see what a great person you voted in. So Camry, do you want to say a few things?
Yes. Okay, I'm turning the video on now. Turn the video.
And I'm sorry, I did turn everybody's video off. We were trying to kind of limit the attention. So.
Okay, I don't think I can turn. It says it stopped it, but okay. Yes, thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
I just asked it to start video, so you should be good.
Start my video. Yep, there we go. Yes, I came a little late. I was expecting it to start at 6:30, but yes. Hello, everyone. I'm Camry Abram. I'll do my little introduction now. I guess I missed it, but yeah, I'm happy to be a part of the board of directors. I live in the far west Detroit neighborhood. I've been living here since a little bit before the age of 5. And Rouge Park has been a part of my childhood ever since I can remember. So it just makes sense for me to be doing this now. I recently graduated from Michigan State University, and I was educated at the university level on urban planning and development, sustainability, even like community inclusion and equity. So now I just want to give back. I have the time, I have the skills, and it just makes sense for me to be a part of an organization like this. So a few of my goals, I'll go really, really quick. I know we're kind of over time, is to increase park funding. I recently applied for a grant on behalf of the organization. It was a $5,000 grant, but we did not get it, unfortunately. But there are many other opportunities for funding, and now I'm just happy that I can formally be a part of those opportunities. And I also want to increase park engagement, especially with the youth and family units. I think Rouge Park is the perfect hub for just family engagement and family bonding. So I think it's going to be really nice this year, especially even with the pandemic. I think we're going to be able to do a little bit of things for the youth and family. And also, I think it's important that we reduce the blight. Is very simple. If you live somewhere that looks pleasant, you take more pride, and you're just, you're more invested in the community and its well-being at that point. So yes, I'm excited to be here, and I'm just excited for what's coming. Nice to meet everyone and officially be a part of the board of directors.
Thank you, Camry.
Yes.
Thank you and congratulations. We look forward to working with you.
Yes, I'm excited.
What a great board member to have written a grant before she even got on the board. So
right, I'm happy to help any way I can.
Yep. All right. So this ends the formal presentation for tonight. All right. Well, thanks everyone. Have a wonderful night.